Hi, subscribe to the channel News Stories every day. Let's get started. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how my childhood friend turned girlfriend, Anna, betrayed me so completely that I lost my family's trust, my job, and nearly my future, only for her to return years later begging my forgiveness. Instead, I recorded her confession and took steps to seek justice. Let me tell the whole tale with some added details so you can see exactly how it all came about. Anna and I grew up side by side, practically from diapers. Our mothers were close friends. They met at some neighborhood function and discovered they lived just a few blocks away from each other. Since Anna and I were around the same age, we ended up playing together constantly, running around backyards, sharing toys, and occasionally squabbling like little kids do. For as long as I can remember, she was just part of my everyday life. We walked to elementary school holding hands so we wouldn't lose each other in a crowd. In high school, we discovered we liked many of the same movies, craved the same candy bars, and found ourselves finishing each other's sentences. By senior year, our mothers kept joking that we were so obviously in love, and to be honest, it was true. The feeling of friendship deepened into something more. People said we were destined, and for a long time, I believed them. After high school, Anna and I started officially dating. We'd been each other's first crush, and now we became each other's first true relationship. It was that magical blend of deep friendship and blossoming romance, something I figured would last a lifetime. 5 years of hope. When people ask how long we've been together, I'd say 5 years and watch their surprised expressions. We rarely fought. If we had conflicts, they were the mild kind, picking a restaurant, deciding what movie to watch. I was finishing college. She was working odd jobs while deciding whether to go to college or open a small business. We used to talk about traveling the world, raising a couple of kids, maybe building a house out in the country once we got stable jobs. I truly thought we'd get married soon. My own mother adored Anna. Her mother, for her part, always winked at me and said, "Take care of my precious girl." Even Anna's father, who was often stoic, seemed to like me. Our families basically considered us the next big event, an engagement, a wedding, and then merging these two families that had already been so close. During that time, we lived separately. I was renting a small place near my college, and Anna still stayed at her parents' home saving money. But we saw each other constantly, grabbing coffee or dinner, or strolling through the local parks. I nearly saved enough for a ring by the time I graduated. I was so certain I was about to propose, and she gave every sign of excitement for our future. It was an unremarkable evening. Anna was spending the night at my place. My phone had died sometime around midnight. I recall forgetting the charger in my car. I had an early meeting at my new job the next day, so I reached for Anna's phone to send a quick text to my boss. We had a comfortable enough relationship that I assumed she wouldn't mind. She was asleep, so I quietly unlocked her phone. That's when I saw something strange. On her home screen, there was a recent text conversation pinned at the top, a name I'd never seen. Curiosity pricked me. We'd always known each other's friends, so who was Malcolm? I told myself, just send the text, don't snoop. But I hesitated. Something about it felt off. I tapped it open. Instantly, my stomach lurched. The chat scrolled with heart emojis. The words, "love you," "talk of meeting late at night." My eyes darted across messages from the last few months. She was telling this Malcolm, "I just can't do it anymore with Daniel. I'm waiting for the right moment to break up. You're the one I really love." She'd apparently been seeing him for months behind my back. She told him how I was clueless, how she was tired of me, how she couldn't wait to build a life with him. I was shaking, scrolling up, reading he's an okay guy, but my heart is with you, as if I'd never been more than a placeholder. Nausea filled me. I slammed the phone down and woke her up, heart pounding. She blinked, startled. I demanded an explanation. At first, she tried to deny it, but then she realized I'd seen everything. She told me to calm down, tried to say it was just flirting. But the messages were explicit, talks of hooking up in hotels, discussing a future without me. Furious, I told her to get out. She started crying, cursing me for snooping, but I didn't care. My entire world had collapsed in minutes. She left around 2 a.m., tears on her cheeks, saying she never meant for me to find out this way, but also calling me insecure. That was the last I saw of her that night. For the next few days, I was practically catatonic. I turned off my phone, ignoring the outside world. I'd lost my first love, the woman I'd known since childhood. I felt like a fool. When I finally turned on my phone and logged into social media, I discovered a storm. Messages from my family, from her family, from mutual friends. They were furious, disappointed, or deeply confused. Why? Because Anna had told everyone that I had cheated on her. She said I was the one who had an affair, that I'd kicked her out mercilessly in the middle of the night after she discovered my infidelity. She spun a sob story about how I'd broken her heart. People were calling me a monster. My own mother texted me, "How could you do this to Anna after all these years?" My father left me a voicemail asking if it was true, saying he'd never forgive me if I broke Anna's trust. I was stunned. She was the cheater, yet she had the nerve to paint me as the villain. Worse, Anna's mother apparently discovered some of her jewelry was missing. In a twisted move, Anna pinned the theft on me. She told her mother I'd stolen it out of revenge. The families believed her. Suddenly, I wasn't just the cheater, but a petty thief. Furious wasn't enough to describe my emotions, but it got more sinister. Anna's mother filed a police report. The police came to question me, and my denial held little weight because Anna told them a consistent story about how I had motive to strike back after our breakup. I ended up arrested, spending a few days in jail while they tried to gather evidence. But there was no real proof that I stole anything because I hadn't. Eventually, they had to release me. Yet the damage was done. I was fired from my new job for missing too many days, plus the stigma of the arrest. I had a mark on my record, even if not a formal conviction. My own mother was speechless. She half believed I'd done something awful, while my father seemed torn. The betrayal from Anna wasn't just romantic, it was an attempt to destroy my entire reputation, and she succeeded for quite some time. Without a job, with people still whispering that I was a cheater and thief, my life spiraled. I spent months depressed, barely leaving my small apartment. Many friends cut ties as they believed Anna's story. My mother was cold and confused. I rarely heard from her. My father tried to approach me, but every conversation ended in tension because he wasn't sure who to believe. My extended family, who'd always adored Anna, basically shunned me. Over time, bitterness consumed me. But at some point, I realized I had to climb out of that pit or I'd wither away. So I forced myself to do the following. Study. I took advantage of my free time to sign up for new courses in coding, software frameworks, and I kept my mind busy. Gym. I'd never been a fitness fanatic, but I started going daily, channeling frustration into weights and running. Therapy. After my father suggested it, I found a low-cost counselor to talk through the betrayal and false accusations. Eventually, I mustered the courage to apply for a public service exam in a related aid field. It took a while, but I passed, landing a new stable job away from the private sector's suspicious glances. Step by step, I rebuilt my life. I was no longer the man I'd been, more guarded, but also stronger. Throughout these years, I heard little about Anna. Rumors said she moved to another city with her lover, presumably the one named Malcolm. Part of me wanted to track her down, prove my innocence somehow, but I decided it was pointless. If my own family refused to see the truth, my protestations wouldn't fix it. So I let it rest, determined to keep forging on. Out of nowhere, Anna showed up at my door a few weeks ago, tears in her eyes, arms spread as if expecting a hug. I nearly slammed the door in her face, but curiosity froze me. She stammered, "Daniel, please, I'm sorry, can we talk?" Anger flooded me, but I also felt a cold sense of opportunity. I invited her in, but I discreetly turned on my phone's voice recorder in my pocket. If she tried anything, I'd have evidence. Inside, she looked around my modest living room, the place she once made me out to be a liar and thief, and began to cry. She apologized for everything. She said she had lied about me stealing her mother's jewelry. She admitted I never cheated. She'd done it all to protect her own image while she ran off with her lover. She said, "I was scared you'd reveal I was the cheater, so I went on the offensive. I never thought you'd get arrested." That got out of control. I listened silently, letting her spill her confession. She insisted her lover had recently dumped her for someone else, leaving her heartbroken. She returned to our hometown jobless and humiliated. Now she realized I was the best thing that happened to her and hoped we could pick up where we left off. My fury was almost tangible, but I kept calm. I gently guided the conversation so she'd repeat the key points: that she'd framed me for theft, that she'd spread lies about me cheating, that she'd orchestrated my downfall to cover her own betrayal. She admitted it all, sobbing I was young, stupid. I'd do anything to fix it now. She said, if I publicly admit it, my mother will disown me and everyone will hate me. Please understand I can't do that, but maybe we can move forward privately. I feigned understanding, telling her I'd think about it. In reality, I was done, but I needed proof, recorded proof of her confession. A minute later, she left, shoulders slumped. She probably expected me to keep her secret, just to reconcile. She never imagined what I'd do next. The instant I closed the door behind her, I called my lawyer, Ms. Reeves, who had helped me once I'd gotten out of jail. She always told me to gather evidence if Anna ever reappeared. Now I had it. Ms. Reeves listened to the recording over the phone. I'd put it in speaker mode and said, this is enough to sue her for defamation, malicious falsehood, and possibly restitution for your job loss. We began drafting a lawsuit. The plan was straightforward. We demand compensation for lost wages due to my unjust firing, damages for defamation and emotional distress, and we present the audio confession. Ms. Reeves also told me we might be able to push for criminal charges if the local authorities agreed to re-examine the false theft accusation. I felt a mixture of relief and sadness. On the one hand, I'd finally proved my innocence to my family, friends, and to anyone else. On the other, it meant dragging out the drama. But Ms. Reeves said, if you want peace in the long run, sometimes you need to fight the legal battle. She has money saved, right? Well, that can help repay the damage. And she was correct. I'd lost so much. Time, career momentum, and the trust of those closest to me. Anna needed to face consequences for the lies that put me in jail. At last, I took the final step. Ms. Reeves filed the suit and used the recording as Exhibit A. My father and mother, who had spent years thinking I might be guilty, finally heard from me. I sent them a calm message. Mom, Dad, I have proof I never stole anything, never cheated. Anna confessed to the entire setup. I'll share it when the case goes to court. I hope you'll stand by me. My father called me in tears, apologizing for doubting me. My mother wept too, saying she had no idea Anna was so manipulative. Some of my extended family members started reaching out, offering to support me in the upcoming legal process. The tide was turning. A new chapter. As I write this, the lawsuit is in progress. Ms. Reeves is confident we'll settle out of court or win if it goes to trial. Anna has tried calling, leaving voicemails that swing between raging that I betrayed her trust to sobbing that she still loves me. It's bizarre how she expected me to keep her secret. I've blocked her from everything. Emotionally, I'm in a better place. I have a stable public service job that pays decently, and I've reconnected with old friends. My father and I have had long talks, bridging the gap that Anna's lies created. My mother regrets siding with Anna so quickly, but I'm trying not to hold a grudge. People make mistakes. The real culprit is the woman who orchestrated this entire fiasco. As for Anna, who knows? She might face serious financial strain or even a criminal record. Part of me feels sorry for the girl I once loved, but I remind myself that she's not that same sweet childhood companion. The person who orchestrated my false arrest and let me lose my job is a far cry from the friend I grew up with, so I let that pity die quickly. I guess the moral is, no matter how well you think you know someone, people can hide dark intentions if they're desperate or selfish enough. When Anna said she never meant me to go to jail, it just revealed how reckless she was in her quest to cover her own wrongdoing. She'd never meant for me to lose my job or reputation, yet she never tried to rectify it, not until her new lover dumped her. Right now, I'm eager for the day in court or settlement that will end this once and for all. Then I can truly say I overcame the darkest chapter of my life, betrayed, falsely accused, and left for dead, only to rise, find proof, and hold the culprit accountable. I'm also proud of how I never stooped to her level. I stood by the truth, gathered evidence, and let justice handle the rest. If I do get a large settlement, it won't erase the hurt or the lost time, but it might help me fully rebuild, maybe buy a better place or invest in a future free from such deception. Epilogue. So that's my story. Anna and I were childhood friends turned sweethearts. She cheated, accused me of theft, got me arrested, cost me my job, and left with her new lover. Years later, after he dumped her, she returned to apologize, hoping I'd keep her secrets. Instead, I recorded her confession and initiated legal action to clear my name and recoup my losses. I'm no longer that naive guy who trusts blindly. I still believe in love, sure, but I also believe in verifying trust with actions, not just words. If you find yourself in a similarly horrifying scenario, gather your proof, remain calm, and fight for justice. People like Anna don't deserve silent forgiveness or a free pass for the harm they do. My life is moving forward. I've reestablished contact with supportive family members. I'm thriving in my new job, and I might be open to dating again eventually. But this time with eyes wide open and no more illusions. I can't change what happened, but I can ensure no one else writes a false narrative about me ever again. That's the best kind of ending I can hope for. One where the truth finally wins out and I reclaim my future on my own terms.